discussion tonight, officially, in our council meeting.
I'll go back to what I recommended at the last meeting that we tabled until we had this executive session we just finished up, and I'm making a motion that we hire Jeff Purkey as a full-time department personnel.
I make a motion that we do
No,
get a
no,
maintenance.
no, yeah, he's already-
Wait,
Wait a second.
You gotta
okay.
vote on his motion
Yeah.
or second it.
We have a motion on the table tonight to hire Jeff Purkey as a full-time town employee. Do I hear a second? I'll ask again, do I hear a second? Okay, motion fails to carry due to a lack of a second. So, it's the only order of business we had on the agenda tonight, so.
Jody, what was your motion?
Well, that if we do make a second job, that we work with Andy before we even hire anybody, of what the job maintenance would be. So there is nobody stepping on toes. Because
Do what now?
yes,
Do what? I don't quite understand what.
if we did make a second job, maintenance,
We already
which we
have.
already have, that we work with Andy and get the job description down so nobody's stepping on anybody's toes. Because yes, we are a small town and he has been doing everything, and maintenance does cover a lot, but they'd also be working together. So if we do hire somebody, they need to realize they will be working together on projects that need to have 2 or more people working on.
I think the problem, from my point of view with that, Jody, is that's the way it is now. That's the way it was before all this come up. Jeff knew he had to work with Andy. And Andy knew he had to work with Jeff.
Okay.
But for some reason, those two guys couldn't work together. Now, that's the reason why we're here.
Yep.
And so, I mean, you're wanting to not make a motion about something that's already in existence, I think. And the problem here is not what the job description is. It's the problem is two guys can't work together. That's the problem. That's how I see it.
What I see is what she's saying basically is the new guy will be working under Andy because Andy's going to be making the list and basically saying what is and what isn't for him to do. So we're right back to might as well had no other department. The other department is relieving duties off of Andy. You don't have to worry about where they're at. You don't have to babysit them all 24/7. You could put a guy out there doing the street department. You could call him street department. He could do the mowing, the trimming, all the plants and everything and whatnot. He could be repairing a garage down there. That garage has been 14 years since I've been on this board and it's still not done and it isn't done. I mean, there's maintenance around that window right there. It's supposed to have been replaced since I've been on the board. Rick Pfeiffer was supposed to replace that. It's leaking, the wood's rotting. I mean, there's just issues, numbers and things that could be worked on a daily basis during the slack time in between jobs or whatever. And, you hire a guy and give him that authority to where but if you're gonna hire some guy and say, well, you can't do it unless you talk to Andy and it's still on his list, you ain't solving any issues.
That's
right.
not what I said, that we would work with
Your
Andy
motion again.
together to do it, but
Like I said, I'm making the motion we hire Jeff. I mean, he's experienced, he's been here, he knows the job, and we've already split the departments, so we need to hire him and determine what department title would be.
One question before, do we have to post that job?
No,
Okay,
we can hire an employee without,
okay. I'll second that motion.
I honestly think we're just beating a bush. I mean, who are you gonna hire? An unexperienced or someone that doesn't know the job? to put in this position. We've already split it. So we're gonna hire somebody to put in a position that doesn't have any experience, don't know nothing about this town or the equipment or anything we got going on. That's, to me, it's silly not to hire an experienced guy that's worked here, and he has a good work record, there's never been any complaints.
Okay, we're at the point now where we have a second on the table, and we need to say all that's in favor of that, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
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 I'm nay. Toby, you're nay.
Nay.
Jody?
Nay.
Nay. So motion does not carry due to lack of vote.
So what's our next step? We're gonna advertise, or is Andy gonna run this town and mow and weed and eat and everything on his own and keep up with everything?
We will advertise.
I want to just the
As
only
far
applicant.
as, street department, is that what you're calling this, John? I don't even know what we call
Maintenance.
it.
We could call it maintenance, street department,
Maintenance, street
anything.
department?
There's so much stuff to do.
Okay, reason why, bro, I personally feel like I'm personally qualified to name things that's his job description. I mean, I don't know enough about the, you know.
That's why I say he is, so he could
Yeah,
help you.
I mean, I don't wanna
He could
be-
help us if we wanted to hear what his job duties were gonna be. He could say, well, this is what normally I did as far as the street department. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He could come in and say, well, when I was working here, I swept the streets, I watered the flowers, I did mowing, I weed eated. You know, I mean, the list is endless. It's endless. And you got a guy that knows the equipment, he knows what the properties are at and everything else. And to hire somebody that has no experience doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Not a bit. But that's fine. So if that's it, I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do I hear a
Oh,
second?
I thought we were
we're
going
gonna
to
talk about this IDEM letter?
item
We
letter.
can? Yes, thank you. As all of you know, we received a letter, I received a letter from IDEM in regard to the early ban notice due to our I&I issues that we have. I have spoke with Jim Frizzell, and Jim would like to meet with Andy and I and one other to talk about this before we present it to the public. So, someone like to volunteer to meet with him, and this needs to happen soon.
Memorial Day weekend, I looked it out on the calendar, we really need to have the response letter back by the 27th. If you look at the way the calendar falls on the holiday and everything.
If the board doesn't care, I'll make myself available. I mean, unless somebody else wants to volunteer to do it. I mean, I'll be willing to step down if somebody else volunteers.
Okay, my name is on the, I'm the one that's on,
Treasurer, board president.
I'm on the hook for this, so, and I've never, you know, pushed my presidential authority, but I am, under law responsible for this, so I feel like that I wanna hear what he's got to say. So,
He said.
Do you know when you were going to set it up?
no, I'll have to touch base with him and see.
Maybe shoot us all a
I don't, like I said, it doesn't matter
message
to
of
me.
when.
Wednesdays and Thursday, late afternoon, evening, I have my daughter, so those times wouldn't be as good for me this week. I mean, any time on Friday,
What was those days again?
but just Wednesday and Thursday.
Good.
Is not,
Is
well,
not good.
during the day is fine, but I'm
Okay,
saying
right.
it's
Yeah, and I would
towards
say-
late afternoon and going into the evening, I'm not good because I have my youngest daughter.
So
But
mornings are better?
mornings are better, but all day Friday, all day tomorrow, I mean, it doesn't
Okay,
matter.
I don't have a time issue.
tomorrow's Tuesday, so we'll shoot for Friday. And if not this Friday, the following Tuesday.
If it's during the day, you can shoot me a text and I can check too, just
Yeah.
for extra knowledge.
3 people cannot be here. We have to declare a quorum.
Quorum.
Okay.
2 board members. Gotcha.
Okay. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, 30 days for
It's 30 days from the day of the letter, which is May 1st.
May 1st.
But if we look, I'm just saying for safety's sake, if you look at the way the weekend falls with Memorial Day,
Yeah.
I think you'd want to have at least postmark by the 27th.
It's probably.
Because they'll go by the postmark.
Yeah, and Jim just wants to share some information
And it
with
can
us.
be, it can be sent to them electronically also.
Direction that
It's in the
he
letter.
would suggest that we go, and then we'll need to meet as a board. Obviously, we, we can't make any decisions, or this is just an information gathering session.
Has this ever happened to the board before?
Yeah,
In this situation?
yeah, we got an agreed order out of it last time.
But what I'm asking here, just out of curiosity, and you may not be able to answer, but, in the past, if they, give us a time limit, okay?
Oh,
And
it's,
let's say we're talking about $1 million easy here, I mean, we apply for a grant. Do they normally grant you the time to
and
get the grant?
here's what I can tell you.
Or is that something Jim probably knew? I'm
No,
sure.
I can tell you, it's better to develop some sort of a plan to take to them than to ignore it, because then they'll step in and say, you're gonna do X, Y, and Z, because on our last sewer
Well, that's what I'm
project,
talking about.
our last sewer project, we kept applying for grants and weren't getting them applying, and they kept working with us and extended it out, but the problem is, the Ochre grant, I talked with Amy Miller, Ochre's what we used for the last sewer project, and so that closed out in February of 17. So we're not available for an Ochre grant for another 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's 7 year turnarounds, and I didn't realize it didn't close out till last year. I thought we were a little farther out, but it's 7 years. And I asked Steve Brock, just so you know, some similar money to what we got for the water grants available. He said it definitely will not be as much, but the buy down for sewer is higher. Our water rate was already high enough for what they call the buy down. That's why they determine our rates are high enough. $65 is the buy down for, I believe it's your average, not your minimum, but I think it's your average sewer bill. But he would be better to tell you that. So, but I mean, there's a threshold there that we're not meeting now. But I still think if we can develop some kind of a program or something to tell them we want to implement this to try to get on their good side, it would be better. Arcadia's doing the same thing. They were kind of ahead of the curve with their deal, and they're trying to get a grant now for theirs.
Well, isn't this one of the problems that we went and did all that work to begin with?
Well, it's part of
Fix.
it. It's part of it, but our collection system's in such horrible condition. What we did was we had X dollars, and I don't remember what it was now,
Okay.
how many hundreds of thousands we had for sewer lining, and basically through the camera work and stuff, we picked the absolute worst of the worst. I mean, the worst broken up drains that are,
Right.
pipes that we had to line. But I mean, I'm telling you, I've been looking, and there's a couple out at the subdivision I just talked to the people about that submitted the stuff, but our reduction was huge from what it used to be. I mean, for us now, a long lift station run is a day. I mean, it catch up in a day, and Fred's worked here and seen it before. I mean, it was
3 days.
huh?
It was 3 days
And
before.
then when it was spring floods and stuff,
Right.
a
Longer
week,
than that.
longer, 2 weeks, but they just don't think it's enough. They want more, and what I don't like, and I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but I told her, we get a lot of water from people's own personal sewer laterals, and their stand on that is, well, you can replace them. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. We can't go replacing people's sewer laterals. I don't have the money, and I'm hoping they'll work with us because we don't have any violations at the sewer plant. I mean, the sewer plant's working on what frustrates me, and they do with after one meeting with them, we can figure something out, is I've asked everybody I know, I've asked people when I went to conference, I've asked the inspector, the woman that's over the I-9 now is Kim Rohr, she used to be our wastewater inspector here. And basically because 50 years ago somebody wrote 80,000 gallons a day on a sheet of paper, they're stuck on that 80,000 gallons a day going to the sewer plant, even though we have all kinds of data to show
It's not.
that no, we have way more, but that it doesn't adversely affect our sewer plant. You know, we're not overflowing, we're not having backups and all this sort of stuff, but man, they just won't let off of it. So, you know, I don't know what the answer is. I come up with some kind of a program that we could stretch out and try to buy some time for the town. And, you know, do some of the smaller stuff like I told you I wanted to do, and hope it works, but they're hung up on it. I told when our wastewater inspector was here, I tried talking to her about it. And she said, well, your numbers are probably so good because your water's diluted. And I said, all right, let's just say that's the case. And we took every drop of groundwater out. All we had was 50,000 gallons a day going to our sewer plant. Let's just say the whole thing was brand new. We would be in a situation then that we could probably go all summer and never even discharge. You know, if we truly only sent 50,000 gallons a day of water out there, we'd probably only have to discharge 1 month out of the year. But they won't let off on it. I don't know, you know, maybe Jim knows somebody. I don't know who to appeal it to. Tom Schubert had initially talked about getting a re-rate number on our plant. They said they got plants, he said he had got plants re-rated, and he had also got a high flow, low flow rating. So
Nobody knows what happened with that.
well, I don't know, it's a thing of Tom's. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Jim could reach out to him or something, I don't know. But I still think if they're not gonna let, I think they want a plan. They're not gonna let up on this water thing getting into the system. I just don't think they are. I mean, I think even if we got our plant re-rated to take some of the pressure off of it, I still think they're gonna want a plan as to how we're gonna correct the system, because it is in the MPS permit, if you're reading that letter, that you're supposed to.
Well, until we talk to Jim, we don't even know what kind of options we
No.
have. We, you know, you can talk to him,
Was it
see
just
what he suggests.
on this letter, am I reading it right, that there was just one unsatisfactory?
It's the I&I. There was nothing
Okay.
else wrong with the sewer
Okay,
plant. No.
okay, just
Because
the
I asked her
I&I.
the day she was here if there was any issues, and it was none. It's just the water.
That's coming into it from the ground, or from the runoff.
Well, it can either be, you know, inflow, which would be
From sewer,
Well,
sanitary.
it
I'm
could
trying
be-
to understand.
No, it could be like, part of it could be, which we've tested a lot of this in the past, the sump pumps hooked to it or downspouts. And I know many times through different projects, when the town's done sewer projects, there's been things done on that and disconnections made. But our biggest problem, if you even look at some of the video of stuff, I don't have any knowledge that our entire system has been cambered. I know different sections have, and I've got some of the older videos, but I mean, if you just watch those things, you can tell when you look at a joint and the pipe is, where the joint is completely clean, is because water
Oh,
is
yeah.
rushing in there, because like the rest of the pipe will have a little film on it from wastewater, or you see big cracks. And I mean, we've had some that got fixed on this last project where, you know, there were chunks of the pipe that were actually broke off. And
Does smoke help you identify?
well, that's what they'll probably do, and that's, I asked Jim and Amy both about that. They, you know, they do these PERs where they're supposed to do flow studies and smoke testing and dye testing to try to isolate areas that, you know, you have a problem. But the problem for us is, through Okra, we're not even eligible for a PER grant. It's like a $35,000 grant, but we're not eligible because of our last project had a PER on it, and then the project itself for this, that 7-year timeline.
What is PER?
The preliminary engineering report.
Okay.
So basically, that's what they do. They do this PER, and it says, hey, we've studied this, we've identified these 50 things wrong or whatever they found out, and we, you know, we're recommending we do this project that addresses these items. And usually most of those they can vary on the size of the project, how much it is, but they're always in the past, you can get a grant that's around $35,000 to pay for that, but we're not eligible again.
And those are our only sources of grant money.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Amy would be a better one to answer. I mean, I know, like I said, SRF had some money, but I don't think they do any PER stuff, so I don't know. Amy may know if there's another avenue. I think Steve Brock and Amy Miller would be the two best ones to find out from if there are other funds available out there.
Andy, I have a question on the state of the quota, the inspection. Do we have massive rains that have floodwater coming down from Tipton and stuff? Getting into everything too?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Because I know there was,
an issue we have at the pond is that we got a field that, washes off into us, but really it flooding even, it slows things down. It slows our storm system down, but if I had to put a number on it, I would say the big stormwater project and the little one combined probably eliminated about 80% of our previous problems. I mean, some things, if the creek floods, you may be slow to get out of town, but it still goes.
well, because I was just wondering, because she says there's excessive inflow, so.
Well, they're just talking about like out here in our own collection system, and the water table's high here anyways. So when we have the big floods, at least from what I've noticed is, especially other areas where the sewers are shallower is where it all starts flying in first, but.
Well, I've noticed since we put in the new sewers, we don't have standing water.
No,
like
not really.
everybody else.
We don't. I mean, the areas are few.
It's done marvelous.
Unless it's soaking wet out there, but.
So they're saying that ground storage water is getting into our sewer system, sewer line system.
Basically, what's happened to, we're given a number, a rating, and it's 80,000 gallons a day that we're permitted to pump to the ponds. And we're exceeding that limit on a regular basis. And we've exceeded that limit on a regular basis for how many years?
I couldn't even tell
30?
you. Probably, at least. I don't even know forever.
That's why we broke down and did the water
And,
sewer project.
So now they're not gonna go along with this, they want us to
Well, they-
rectify this situation.
they do.
They want a plan.
They want to know that we're doing something to try to correct that. And I think it all stems from, Tipton dumps into Cicero Creek, Atlanta dumps in, Arcadia dumps in, and that all flows to Morse Reservoir. And that's, obviously the water going into the creek now is clean. I mean, with our work that we did 3 years ago. It's chlorinated and dechlorinated, so the water, I wouldn't want to drink it, but it's
Not contaminated.
Wouldn't mind falling in it.
it's E. coli free, it's not contaminated anymore, but.
That's why I said the flooding, because we did have heavy rains in April.
It makes it worse when we
He
have
has
heavy
to,
rains.
he has to write the numbers down every day,
Right.
and they look at that, they look at those.
Did she
numbers.
look at it?
Oh yeah, she looked at every single one of my reports. Yeah, she sat in here for hours. I sat here with her and she gives me a list I want from this date to this date, and she sat here and read every one of my reports that I submitted to the state. She read every bench sheet on our daily operation. But I'm just gonna see what the math is on it here to give you an idea of average 24-hour period here. But it hasn't been, and part of it's a little long. I've been trying to do my tests at the same time every day.
Right.
I did point that out to her, like on a weekend, if I don't get out in the morning and I do it in the afternoon, it's really not a 24-hour period.
And then it's higher, yeah.
Yeah, then it's higher, but here, this was a short period, so. A lot of numbers here. Alright, so Sunday, yesterday, I didn't get out the sewer plant till 8 o'clock in the evening. I was gone all day. And I was out there this morning at 10:30. So it's not even a 24-hour period, but we sent 67,461 gallons of water out there. That's more, I'd have to do my water, but that's about what we,
About 12, 13 hours.
14 hours.
but that's about what we pumped from the plant, and you gotta think, not 100% of the water
Yeah.
that we produce goes down the drain here. I mean, and we're breaking the 80,000 all the time. I mean, the best times we do, which shows you it's in the collection system, is when we get into a drought in the summer. I mean, if you have droughts, that is when you really see it. But any kind of rain, and our numbers going up, and it's not going through the roof like it used to, but it's going up, and that's what they're harping on. But,
Can those lines be lined to
Yeah.
reduce?
well, that's what we did on our last project.
Okay.
You know, they put a liner in, we did the worst of the worst ones, and I was talking, Bill Watson's going to do a big separation project next. That's why he's trying to get out of here this week on this project, but he showed me all of his numbers, and I may ask him if he'll make me copies so I can show you guys. But you get into an area, when you get into real, shallow sewers, like less than 8 feet deep, it's almost a coin toss, because his bidding, at least if he was doing it, he's replacing them for almost what it's costing to have them lined.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the thing with lining, it is pretty good, but it's proven it's not going to last forever. And our problem here, some of these main trunk lines, like especially over on Central, they're over 20 feet in the ground. I mean, could you imagine digging a hole 20 feet deep down the middle of Central? I mean, I can't imagine what it was like when they put that in over there. I mean, it's just mountains and mountains of dirt.
So would it be then more advantageous to just put new ones in, shallower?
Well, it could be. That's one of the things.
Rather
ideas I
than
had
replacing-
That was an idea I had for Jim to ask him about, was if we came up with a hybrid project, maybe where we did, replace the shallow ones, because shallow manholes were about $2,500 a piece installed. And then,
That depth is required though, Pam, because the way the system works.
Oh, gravity.
Over on,
Okay.
see, it's at the highest point over
Okay.
on our side of town,
Okay,
and then it flows downhill.
right. I always wondered how that worked.
Yeah, and then when it gets to over at Toby's,
like, when you get out to the ball diamond, it's like, it's far to ground.
Okay.
I mean, and there's areas, and out, Adam Street's deceptive, and out on 19, manhole number 2 is by Charlie Dick's house there.
Okay.
That manhole is a bottom ring with a lid on it. I mean, the manhole's this deep.
Okay.
So it just depends on where you're at in town. Some of them are really shallow, and some of them are.
I know where my sewer line comes out from the house, where it meets the town in that alley behind me. I had that line replaced, and the guy went down like, I think it was almost 13 foot. Behind the.
That's a deep manhole behind you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's pretty deep, I mean.
But that's why, I mean, it wouldn't even be feasible for a town this size, like, to replace these deep sewers. That's why they always talk about lining them. And, the technology's getting better every day. I saw a machine now where Cincinnati's so big they do all their own sewer lining in-house.
Wow.
But they actually started lining their customers'
Will they come do ours?
sewer laterals. But that's why a lot of people go to lining. It's cheaper. And for what you're getting, you're not cutting up the street, you're not having a huge excavation. And
Wow.
because this project, I forget, the project he's going to do now is like over $5 million. And it's not the whole town. Wow. I wouldn't even care to guess if you tried to replace our entire system, what that would cost.
Good grief.
$10 million maybe. So it's not feasible.
No.
So that's why I'm hoping they've got some good ideas and a plan that IDEM will accept.
And surely he's had to have seen this with other.
Oh, they deal with it all the time. I mean, different communities.
Wow.
Thank you, Andy.
I hear a motion that we adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.